Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Alan Thomas, and this is my wife Angie, and we are Rethink Dieting. So, wanted to come to you today and really talk about what's stopping you. But first, before we get started, tell you a little bit about our story. A lot of people don't hear Angie a lot, so she told me she was going to talk more. So, I said, "Oh, that'll be a first." But at any
It's
rate,
gonna happen.
that's it. So, about 6 years ago, I stepped on the scale and I saw something that I didn't think I'd ever see in my lifetime. I was 55 years old. Angie was obviously 20, 30 years younger than me at the time. But any rate, we've been together. We had just celebrated our 31st wedding anniversary at that point. And I stepped on that scale and I saw 304 pounds staring back at me. 304 pounds. Now, for me, I'm 5'11, I'm not 8 feet tall. And standing there really got my attention was the fact that when I'd been in the insurance industry for over a decade, and I realized that I had never met a man that was 65 years old that was over 100 pounds overweight. Now I met some since, and it wasn't, and this isn't to shame anybody. It's just I realized that all these houses I'd been in, because I dealt with what's called the senior market. That's people over 65. Having been in thousands of homes, literally thousands of homes, and helping seniors with burial insurance, I realized that the men didn't live past 65 very often that were obese. And I realized I would be known as her first husband because I'd be dead. And her first husband, and that I remember standing on the scale that morning and seeing that. And a lot of y'all probably heard this story, and not to belabor it, but this is what really happened. And I saw that and I said, we've got four amazing children. They're all grown now. But I realized our one daughter, somebody else would be walking her down the aisle. I realized somebody would be taking her out for Valentine's dinner for doing different things. Not because were you shopping?
Yep.
She wasn't shopping at the time, but also realized that, just life happens, and she would move on and I would be in the grave because I couldn't put down the fork. And it was really one of those things. I also realized that in addition to letting my family down and all of those things, I realized that there's all these things that I wanted to do, and I still felt like in my mind. I don't know about you guys. I'm 61 now. Angie's still a lot younger than me, and I'm 61, but I feel young. I'm still 16 at heart. But the problem is I knew the clock was ticking, and gosh, I had all these reasons why I couldn't do it, and all that. We'll get to that too. But went on a public journey, and 260 days later, 129 pounds was gone, and it was how I escaped obesity. But what's crazy is it impacted her. And we don't talk about her a lot because, a lot of people say, well, this is all about men. No, it's not. We have ladies who are Rethink Dining clients and all because of Angie's journey. But tell them about you. I'll tell them about you if you want to.
Well, like
Speak
you said,
up.
it was
Come on, talk like you to me.
We had been together, married rather, for 31 years. We'd been together another 6 years. So we've known each other for a while by this point, keep in mind, and been on various journeys of weight loss. But when he made this commitment, I really felt and saw the difference because I did see what he was just explaining to you all, that our family mattered more than the next bite or whatever. And so we do most everything together. And so while I was a little frightened at first because I knew we did everything together, I knew it was the right thing for me to join as well. And 190 days later, I'd lost 63 pounds.
63 pounds. Yep. Yeah. And it was, and we don't say any of that to impress y'all. I mean, we really say it to impress upon you that it was never the diet. Listen, I could, we went through a list because I've obviously had a lot more weight to lose and had struggled longer than Angie had, but 35 years of dieting and all the different things, it was never the diet. It was always the decision. And we talk about that a lot. But it really is true. And so today we're thinking about what do we want? How can we bring value to this group, this Rethink Dieting group of folks? And what we want to talk to you about is really what's stopping you. What's stopping you from reaching your ideal weight? Because if you're in this community of amazing people, you probably have some weight to lose, and so you might be wondering what's stopping you. And Angie and I were reviewing it. We talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who have every reason in the world why they can't lose weight. And here, throw some out, because and it's so interesting, and I want y'all to follow this.
I'll do it tomorrow. I'm on meds and I have to eat.
I'm on meds. Okay, I'm on meds and I have to eat. Okay, now, and this is,
take my medicine.
And I'm not making light of that, but I know it's so interesting when you hear that. Here, I'm gonna throw a couple out of people who, and I'm just randomly pull a few here. So let's take Rethinker. Let's take Ann. Okay, now Ann, about a year ago, well, when we met, we'd never met personally, but the obstacles of weight loss were not believing that she could do it, feeling like she'd have to give up too much, unwillingness to commit to regular exercise, and reluctant to ask for help. And I mean, that described me a lot. Now here's what's interesting. Fast forward from that day when she wrote that, and in coming into our Rethink Dieting process, where we never tell people what to eat, because that we don't believe it's a problem. Do you have to change what you eat? Of course you do. Do we have strategies? Of course we do. We never tell people what the exercise to do, but does exercise help? Well, sure, if you're healthy enough, but you don't have to do crazy. And what's crazy is when she wrote that, she was over 30 some odd pounds heavier than what she is today. And she's at her ideal weight today. And what's cool is she's stepping out in ways in her life that she's always dreamed about. And it was something I'm going to talk to you at the end of this. But throw some more at me.
I have to cook for my family.
Oh, I love that one, because I have to cook for my family. But we also talked to somebody just recently who didn't have anybody, had nobody to cook for, lived alone. And they couldn't do it. So it's both sides. Both sides are true if you believe they are.
I have young kids.
I have young kids. We also get to hear my kids are all grown, or I don't have kids at all. I mean, when you think about these different beliefs that we have as we go through this, it's really wrap your head around this. Wrap your head around all of the things, and these are true if you believe they are. I mean, think about. Let's see. I'm gonna pull another one of these random ones, and these are before we got to know people. And this one is our client Debbie. Now, Debbie was her obstacles were stress eating, loving sweets. Oh wow, you love sweets, you can't lose weight. Putting work above health, not making time commitment to cook healthy meals, and Now today she's 40 pounds lighter. So she went through the Rethink Dieting process, and it was just funny. She'd been on she listened to a myriad of diets. It works. It works if you believe it will. And it's so interesting, and it does. And so that is it. Throw some more.
Healthy foods are too expensive.
Oh yeah. Now that's one I love. That's one I love. And we see that a lot. And I get that. I know, especially now with the inflation, prices are skyrocketing and everything expensive. But it's so funny how we can find the money to go to a fast food restaurant or to eat, maybe McDonald's. Somebody was telling me the other day, it was $11 for a Big Mac at a McDonald's, $11. But people find a way to find the money for what's important. Angie and I spend a lot of time in houses. Angie and I work together in our insurance business. And we saw people that were of modest means, but they always found the money to be able to pay for a $100 cable and a 45-inch flat screen TV, but can't find healthy food. And so, and I don't get, and we'll do one on healthy, and that's kind of my pet peeve thing. But here's another one. Okay. So these are beliefs. Now this is somebody who also went through this is Bob. Now, this gentleman's 69 years old when he did this, and he put chronic pain obstacles, chronic pain and fatigue and medications. Now that's a real thing. Pain is real. Pain is real. There's no question. But see, it was so interesting when he dropped what ended up being about 65 pounds at age 70, how the pain and fatigue dissipated. I'm not saying it went away completely, but it dissipated. It was interesting. And so this is another rethinker, Bob, who went through that. What else? What else you got?
I don't like vegetables and fruit.
Oh gosh, don't like vegetables and fruit, and that's okay. Now I think about Chris, who and y'all, I tell the apple pie story a lot of times, and Chris is the apple pie guy, and he came into Rethink Dieting in one of our private coaching calls. He came to and he says, Alan, and now Chris ended up releasing like 40 or 50 pounds. I can't remember, something like that. That I have to go. This is a couple of years ago, and he said, you know what I had for breakfast? And I said, what'd you have for breakfast, Chris? He said, I had apple pie. And I said, you figured it out, didn't you? See, we give you the tools to figure this stuff out. And so sweets are an issue. Hey, I don't tell you not to eat sweets. We believe that Jesus declared all the food good. He just did not say eat it all at one time. But Chris figured out a way. There's always a way for the committed. What else? What else you got?
I'm lonely.
I'm lonely. Okay. No, I get it. And lonely is a real thing. And I feel for people that are lonely. So people eat when they're lonely. No, we have other clients come to us and say, I'm never alone. I always have family around me, and there's always food to eat, and I have to eat it. So which way's right? You can't have it both ways. I mean, it's just interesting. It's whatever way you believe works. And then let's see, let's drop another one here. So Gwen. Now Gwen's really, really talented lady. She availability of a gym. She's got some real serious autoimmune issues. Just having to nervousness about business, but she found a way to reach a weight, or lowest weight since the
1980s.
So 1980s, something like that. She's released a bunch of weight, and she found a way. So she overcame that with the techniques we teach. So pretty cool. What else?
My wife likes to cook all the time.
My wife likes to cook all the time. Okay. So we hear that, and I appreciate that. The wife likes to cook all the time. But then there's also people that we have come to us that don't have anybody to cook for them. They live alone. You've heard, I think we've already talked about that. We've talked about so many of these. So which way's right? Which way? Think about it. I mean, think about the beliefs that people have around this. And which way's right. So here, we'll give you another story of somebody. Oh, Tony. Tony's a member of the 100-pound club, and Tony, when he came into the program, to the Rethink Dieting program, he was as big as sticking to a plan and getting enough exercise. Now that's big stuff. Sticking to it, and we hear that a lot. The stick-to-itiveness I'll mention in 1 minute. But now Tony released over 100 pounds. Because he applied the principles, he figured out how to stick to it, and he goes to the gym all the time. Now, I didn't tell him to go to the gym. Angie didn't tell him to go to the gym. We didn't tell him what to stick to or how to stick to it. We told him the pieces he was missing, because he already had his strategy he tried in the past were almost every popular diet out there he put down, and mostly recently it was keto, and all of those work at some level. And so, but Tony figured out a way. And so, because when you apply certain techniques that you're missing, because all of these diets, when somebody comes to me, for example, if any of you guys are watching this and you're wondering what diet to follow, I'm going to send you to Google, because Google's got a ton of great. It's Google. You can go there and you'll find all kind of ideas on diets, but that's not the key. The key is to stick to it. The key is to go in the distance. The key are all these other pieces that those are missing that I never found until we went through our personal journey where it was changed everything for us. What else? What else you got?
My family doesn't support me.
My family doesn't support me. Okay, yeah, and I mean that's real. I mean that's the sabotage that we have from family members not wanting it, but we talk to people whose families, all they do is support them in their weight loss journey. Angie was an example of that. What was the joke? She cooked 10,000 boneless chicken breasts with no anything on them, and it still didn't work. And I got to 300 pounds because I always found a way to find something else. Now, there's nothing wrong with chicken breasts, nothing wrong with something else, but I always found a way to do that. So think about that. just for a minute, there's both sides of these. They can't both be right, or maybe they can. You never know. Here, I'll pop a few more of these. I just pulled some random ones. Rick's one of my favorites to talk about. We love Rick. And Rick is, Rick's 71. And he had some real challenges. He put down, he was very inactive. He has nerve problems in his lower spine. He has to use a walker to walk. He actually has fused vertebrae. And so he positively couldn't lose weight, right? That is absolutely incorrect. And Rick, we didn't tell him what to eat. We didn't tell him what exercise to do. He's a senior citizen. He's an amazing human, but Rick followed the process. And now more than 100 pounds gone. He's a member of the 100-pound club too. And so it's pretty interesting when you look at these. So whatever you believe whatever you believe to be true is going to be true. You're going to make it true. You're going to find things to support that being true. And so when you think about this, the answer to the problem is your personal belief. It really is. My belief was that weight loss was hard. It wasn't. I mean, it was complicated. It wasn't. It wasn't easy every day. I'm not going to tell you it was. But what's interesting is there's always a way. There's always a way, and it's never the diet. I mean, I know people say, "Oh, wait, that's not true. Give me a tip or a trick." I hear that all the time. I get, "What's strategy? Tell me a strategy." Well, the strategy, one of the biggest pieces of the equation is your belief, the level of belief that you have that it's possible. So if you're building evidence that something will not work, it won't work. I'll tell you that positively. It's no different than we were in the insurance business. We had agents that came to work with us that believed it wouldn't work. Well, guess what? It didn't work. We had others that found a way. And so it's interesting how that works out in weight loss too. And then think about Sean. And y'all have heard of Sean probably. I've interviewed him several times because he was actually in a wheelchair if he had to walk more than 10 feet. And he had really serious injury, from back pain that left him inactive. So he clearly couldn't lose weight. Well, Sean's down about 170 pounds. Now, did we do it for him? No, but he changed his belief. He did. In fact, it was so interesting with Sean, and some of y'all might have heard this. Sean came originally, because I tell people, I am not going to tell you exactly what to eat. We're going to give you strategies. We're going to give you techniques to where you can build that, because you have to become an expert on you. If I say eat keto, this is the way my mind worked when I was struggling with my weight, and Angie was too. If somebody said, "Oh, you can't eat meat, you're going to have to go vegetarian," and I don't have any attachment to either. And I would say, "Well, gosh, I got to have meat." And if somebody said that, "Oh, you're going to have to go carnivore," and I would say, "Well, I love vegetables," or "I don't like vegetables," or "You can't eat fruit," or "You can't eat fruit," or whatever. So we always fight that thing that you can find something wrong in everything. But if you build your belief, it's like Henry Ford said, if you believe you can, you're correct. If you believe you cannot, you are correct. So build your belief around that. People want to know a strategy. That's a real strategy. That is not a hoodoo voodoo strategy. That is a real strategy. And when you're doing this, and I'll give you another example. See, Stacy, who lives in the north, she was rethinker from a couple of years ago, about a year ago, lady, and she didn't believe it was possible to lose weight in the winter and to be active in the winter. And I didn't have any attachment to that. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but she found a way and dropped more than 30 or 40 pounds, whatever it was. And so the point I make to you is all of the people who struggle with their weight, they found a way. And you can too. I mean, you really can. So if you guys are struggling, if you're not sure what to do, go check out, here, I'll pop this up real quick for you. Go check out our online training. We have a free online training at rethinkdieting.com. That's right there on the screen, rethinkdieting.com. Go there, register for it. You'll get to watch the video. You'll get a replay as well. Watch that, and you'll get the 5-step strategy that Angie and I used to lose 192 pounds between us. And so we lost a whole person in the process. We still have our kids, but anyway, we lost that. And then if you're not sure what to do, and you want to have an honest conversation, and I'm talking about a really honest conversation, we're going to get real. We're going to get real about it. Angie and I'd be glad to talk to you. You can go to transformmyfuture.com/apply. We'll walk you through, how how bad is your problem? How bad is your weight problem? Is it something you just want to do? How committed you are to solving it? If we can help, we can't help everybody. We're not everybody's solution. Angie's not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Angie's not a nurse. I'm not a nurse. Angie's not a dietitian. I'm not a dietitian. Angie's not a physical fitness expert. I'm not a physical fitness expert. And all of those things, but both have escaped the obesity, and we know the way out. I promise you, we know the way out. So if you really want to have that conversation, go to transformmyfuture.com/apply, and we will see you next time. God bless. Say something
Bye.
pretty.
Well,
Okay. All right. Okay.